Yo, 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 yo. What is the word, my beautiful black people? How are y'all doing tonight? I hope y'all doing well. Now, yesterday, I was watching this video, and man, I was planning on giving a shout out to the channel, but I don't remember the name of the channel. I mean, hell, they don't need my help anyway. They get tens of thousands of views, so they good. But anyway, they was having like this round table where they had like these three black American men, and it was four um, just very attractive African women, black African ladies. And the name of the show, the title says something like "Why African Women Don't Date Black American Men," something like that. And I was watching this, and it got me to thinking about a relationship that I was in years ago with an African lady. I made a comment about it in the comment section, and all these people was chiming in on it. I guess it was interesting to them, what I had to say. And it was one of those stories that I never actually thought about making a video about, but I got to thinking about it, and yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting subject to cover. All right, so anyway, years ago, I was at the Walmart, right? And I guess I didn't find what I was looking for, so I was leaving. And you have like the cashier lines. So I'm walking through one of the empty cashier lines, and you know how they have like that main aisle that you come off of to go into the cashier line? Well, right across from the cashier lines are like those little bitty mini aisles, where they sell like the gift cards and stuff. So like if you're in one of those cashier lines, you could, if you turn around, you'll be able to look right up one of those aisles. All right, one of those little mini aisles. So like I said, I didn't find whatever I was looking for, so I was leaving, and something told me to turn around. So I turn around and I look up one of those aisles, and I just see this, just man, just this fine, just man, I'm talking about this woman just had curves, just she was fine. And I was looking like, whoa, hold up. I gotta see what time it is. So shoot, I turned around. I walked up the aisle to her. She's looking at one of the cards. And, I'm like, excuse me, ma'am. I'm a gentleman like that. I'm like, excuse me, ma'am. She turns around. I'm looking like, man, she looks good. Dark skinned woman, just sexy. So I'm like, are you married? I just came out and asked her, are you married? And then she kind of laughed a little bit, and she smiled, and she looked at me, and she was like, why do you ask me that? And that's when I heard the accent. I'm like, ooh, ooh. Y'all remember Arnold Horshack from Welcome Back Carter? Ooh, 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 ooh. that's what's going on in my head. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I heard that African accent. I'm like, oh man, I got to make this happen. Make a long story short, we wind up exchanging numbers. Now, this is what's funny. The very next day, I wind up back in the area, and I had a homeboy that actually stayed across the freeway from the Walmart. Well, he had to get something from the Walmart, so both of us wind up going up there, and we get out the truck, and we're walking, and I look across the parking lot, and I just see this brick house. She's walking towards the Walmart. I'm elbowing my homeboy like, man, who is that? He looks like, ooh, man. I'm like, man, I gotta see what's up. He's like, yeah, go on ahead, man, handle your business. So I walk across the parking lot, y'all. I catch up too. I'm like, excuse me, ma'am. Once again, excuse me, ma'am. The woman turns around. It turns out to be the same lady that I met the night before. It was her. She was coming back up there. Yo, I played it off so smooth. I was like, yeah, I seen you over here. What's going on, girl? She hugs me. I'm like, yeah, blah, 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 this and that. My homeboy walks over there. I introduce her to him. And, I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and let you do your shopping or whatever. Okay. I'll see you later. So, yeah, that was pretty ironic. But, I called her and we wind up seeing each other. And, I liked her. She was very polite, very smart woman, you know, on top of just being just fine as hell. And, I really liked her energy. I was liking her a lot. So one day we was just sitting around and she is like, hey, I want to ask you something. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. She is like, well, I'm not just going to come out and ask you. She was like, there's this new movie called blah blah blah. Have you heard of it? I'm like, no. She was like, well, what I want you to do, I want you to go when you get home or whatever. I want you to look up the movie, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm like, okay. So later that night, I went ahead and checked out the movie that she was. I don't remember the name, but it was like with Sandra Bullock, I believe, and one of those guys, one of those leading Hollywood men that be in a bunch of movies. And but the movie was about she Sandra Bullock's character was real prominent in the law firm or business firm, whatever it was. She had wind up gaining a lot of prominence in it, but I think that she was from Canada and she was having legal problems because she wasn't a legal citizen of the United States. However it happened, it was like one of those quirky, comedy filled love stories. Y'all know how it is, the typical thing. She gets this guy that she wasn't really interested in that worked in the firm to agree to marry her, and she had like a business arrangement with him, but they eventually legitimately fell in love. By the end of the movie, it was like one of those things. Y'all know how it goes. But I looked it up and I looked at the premise of it and I was like, uh-oh. I knew right then and there what she was shooting at. You know what I'm saying? So I saw her and we wind up getting together again, and sure enough, she's asking me, hey, did you see that, check out that movie I was talking about? I lied, y'all. I lied. I told her no. But she saw right through me. She was like, hey, you're an intelligent guy. I know that you checked that movie out. I know you went and checked it out. I mean, she saw right through me, y'all. So she was like, yeah, so what you think? Oh, another thing is that she already had a son. Her son was still in Africa, okay? Her son was still in Africa and she wanted to bring him here, to the States. And she, like I said, she was basically trying to get her citizenship as well. And she got her son over there, she wants to bring him over. And so now she's asking me to basically marry her so she can get her citizenship. And I was like, look, I'm like, you're asking me to do this for you, but you don't want to be, you know what I'm saying? You don't want me to marry you to, for you to be my wife. If I'm going to marry somebody, it's going to be because, you know what I'm saying? They're going to be my wife and they want to be my wife. But, I mean, she, I wasn't the right one for that, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So she started laying this thing on me about, yeah, I do anything for a friend. If a friend asks me to do something, blah, blah, blah. She was trying to lay that mumbo jumbo on me. Of course, I didn't fall for it. So by the end of it all, we wind up having a couple of more rumps in the hay, and we went our separate ways. Now I still had a number, so like a couple of months later, I hadn't talked to her, and her number was still in my phone. I'm like looking at it. I'm like, man, I'm gonna send her a text. I'm not even gonna call her. I'm gonna send her a text, ask her how she doing. So I text her, and she wound up texting me back. Well, come to find out, she wound up hooking up with another guy, and it wasn't no surprise to me. I mean, like I said, the woman was fine. You know what I'm saying? So I already knew she wouldn't have no problem, you know, getting a guy to do that, for her. I already knew that. So a couple of months later, like I say, I text her. We're texting back and forth, and she basically tells me that she wind up hooking up with this dude. Now, the dude that she winds up hooking up with, he was one of her countrymen. You know what I'm saying? He was from Africa too. I don't forgot what part she was from, but apparently he was from there as well. And I guess, I mean, he was already a citizen, and he was a cup of tea. So she was actually in a relationship with this guy to where they was planning on being married, and she was actually gonna be a wife to this guy. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I mean, it was like one of those things. Man, I really liked that woman. You know what I'm saying? I really liked her, but she was asking me to marry her strictly for her to get her citizenship. She didn't want to be with me in a marriage. You know what I mean? She just wanted me to marry her so she could get her son down here and get her citizenship. But she didn't want to be with me as a wife. You know what I'm saying? And apparently she met this guy, weeks later. I don't know. Soon after me and her went our separate ways. And yeah. So that was the last time I communicated with her. And I guess they wound up walking down the aisle together. I mean, hey, there's no ill feelings on my part. I thought that she was a pretty awesome lady. You know what I'm saying? She was very nice, very courteous, very smart. On top of the fact that she was fine as hell, yo. I still miss that. And yeah, that was that. So I feel like talking about that. And yeah, like I said, that was that. All right, so I'll holler at y'all later. All right, peace.